It's time for my second Bears 2025 mock draft after the firing of Matt Eberflus. The last time we did a Bears mock, my first one of the year, the Bears were 4-2, rolling heading into the bye week. Since then, they have lost 6 games and have fired their head coach. My name is Harrison Graham. We're going to get into this 5-round mock draft here in just a moment. But before we do that, do you want more Bears draft content? Obviously, the primary focus right now is 2 things. A, the rest of the season content with that, and B, the coaching search, because that's getting going here. But if you want more Bears draft content, hit that like button. If you don't, tell us what type of content you'd like to see in the comment section below. All right, Bears mock draft 2.0, round 1, pick 11, Will Campbell, the offensive lineman out of LSU. And you might be thinking, Harrison, Campbell falls to 11? Yeah, I think he's taken a little bit of a step back this year. Now, he's had a good year. I don't think he's some bad player all of a sudden, but I don't think he's been quite as good. I also think just other players have ascended, to the top of people's draft board. So there's a scenario he falls to the latter part of the top 10 and even outside of the top 10. When you run these mock draft simulators, I'd say about half the time he's available at pick number 11, which is where the Bears sit right now. Dane Brugler had this to say about Will Campbell. He said his lack of ideal length will be an issue for some teams. Scout believe his arms will measure right around 33 inches at the combine, which is kind of the minimum threshold for offensive tackles for those in the NFL. There are exceptions, but that's typical. I'm keeping him at tackle until he shows he can't do it, but even if he moves to the interior, he is still the best offensive lineman in this draft. And that's what intrigues me about Will Campbell, is because you have Braxton Jones under contract for 1 more year. I think Braxton Jones is a flawed player. He's had some minor injuries. You can bull rush him. He's not a perfect player. But I think he's a starter in this league, and you have him under contract for 1 more year. So do you want to create another hole on your roster by punting on him after this year? Or do you draft a Will Campbell if he's available, play him at guard, and move him to tackle in year 2, or maybe Braxton shows he's a long-term answer and you keep Campbell at guard? I think that's what Will Campbell does. He gives you options. If you get rid of Jones or he beats Jones out at left tackle, hey, great, so be it. He's your left tackle. If not, you can kind of Tyler Smith him like the Cowboys did when they still had Tyron Smith, make him a guard, and maybe he's just awesome at guard. And with shorter arms, that might be a better spot for him. So you're going to need some interior help on the offensive line. So I like the flexibility of Will Campbell and his ability to kick in there and play if that's the route the Bears wanted to go. All right, round 2, pick number 37. This one from the Carolina Panthers. Tyler Warren, the tight end out of Penn State. He's having a hell of a year. Most view him as a late first, early second. He fell to 37 here. Again, I'd say about half the time he's available when you run these mocks. If he continues to ascend and has a big playoff, he'll probably go in the first round. But here in early December, I still think there's a scenario where he's available at the spot. Teams don't value tight ends super high typically in drafts. This kid is awesome. I mean, he is Penn State's offense. Almost 1,000 yards receiving. They use him as a runner. He kind of reminds me of how Georgia used Brock Bowers, where they would use him on jet sweeps and stuff like that. That's what Warren does, 10 total touchdowns. He's an okay blocker. You'd like him to be better there, but I think tight end is a sneaky position of need. Obviously, Cole Kmet's a very good player, and I'm not saying you need to have someone replace him, but you've gotten absolutely nothing out of Gerald Everett. Marcedes Lewis is 40 years old, and you pair this guy with Cole Kmet, that's one of the best duos in the league. And to me, I still think you need to be open-minded to BPA, best player available, when you go through this, and that would be what this is. And we don't know what the future of Keenan Allen is. If you lose him, well, maybe adding a guy like this in the draft, maybe that kind of is his replacement, even though it's a different position. Maybe you go cheaper at number 3 receiver in free agency or something like that, and you run a lot of 2 tight end sets, which, depending on the type of offense, a lot of those McVay, Shanahan type of offenses run 12 personnel anyway, and you haven't been able to do that as much as you'd like because Gerald Everett's been a total no-show this year. That has not worked out. So if Tyler Warren's there at 37 and you're picking there, I'd be pretty tempted because the guy is a hell of a ball player. Would you be okay taking Tyler Warren if he's sitting there in the second round? Type Y for yes, you would. Type N for no, you wouldn't. I would, because you still need good players. And oh, by the way, this thing still needs to be about Caleb Williams, and this guy would help Caleb Williams. All right, round 2, pick number 43, the Bears on second round pick. Jack Sawyer, the edge out of Ohio State. He's really well-rounded. He's never going to be the best pass rusher in the NFL, but he's steady against the run, and he plays with a lot of passion. His pass rush win rate's been really good this year, just under 20%, which is solid as well. Again, I don't think this is a guy who 3 years from now is having 12 sacks a year, but I think he can be like in that 8-sack range once he reaches his potential. Maybe he pushes for 10 sacks some seasons, and he sets the edge as an edge runner, and he plays a lot of snaps, and is just a vocal leader. Like, he's the type of guy that, like, fits the Bears historically, right? Just a hard-nosed type of player that wants to play every down. He's not the most talented, but he's talented enough, and he's a very physical player. So I like what he brings to the table in terms of intangibles, and his tangibles are still pretty good. He's 6'5", probably going to be about 260. All right, Tate Ratledge, kind of similar, but on the offensive side, not the most athletic, not the best mover, but a leader. I saw him kind of rein in Carson Beck in a game recently after Beck started slow. He kind of calmed him down on the side. I think it was in that Georgia Tech game where things were going terribly, and Beck kind of figured it out in the second half and got back together. He's missed some games this year with an injury, but he's kind of an old-school guard, more of a mauler. I don't think he's going to test amazingly well. We know Poles values that, so maybe he wouldn't take Tate Ratledge, but I think he's a starting caliber guard in the NFL. If not in year one, down the road. Maybe he's like competing for your last offensive line job this year. Like, say you do get Will Campbell and you plug him at guard and Tevin Jenkins is walked, maybe you re-sign Matt Pryor and he competes with Tate Ratledge, right? Something like that where make the best man win for your fifth and final starting offensive lineman. So, again, I think you got to focus on the trenches. You got to add players who can beef up your offensive and defensive line. And clearly that's been my focus with this mock draft. All right, a couple more picks to go as we did a 5-round mock. Before we get to those, though, get started with Rocket Money. The best financial app out there to stay on top of your expenses is Rocket Money. You can help. They'll help you find and cancel your unwanted subscriptions, monitor your spending, and help lower your bills so that you can grow your savings. Did you know that most Americans think they're spending about $62 per year on subscriptions when that number is closer to $300? I didn't believe it. And then when I started with Rocket Money, I had all kinds of subscriptions and services I was paying for that I either A, wasn't using anymore, or B, didn't even remember signing up for in the first place. Probably signed up for it one time for some free trial for some show that I wanted to check out and then totally forgot, and I've been getting charged for it ever since. You can save tons of money as they will help you cancel those subscriptions you no longer want. You can identify which ones you want to cancel, and a few clicks later, they will get that done for you as they will be the ones who deal with customer service. Check out Rocket Money today. Download the app by using our link. It helps supports us, and then you'll support yourself by doing it at rocketmoney.com/bears. Now, tons of other benefits as well, staying on top of your credit score, just your overall banking. I think it's better than most banking apps that I've used in the past, and you can even negotiate to lower your bills by up to 20%. Just send a photo of your bill to Rocket Money, and they'll try to find better offers for you. rocketmoney.com/bears. Now, stop wasting money. You can save up to $740 per year by using its full features at rocketmoney.com/bears now. I said two more picks. One more pick here. Trevor Etienne, the 5th-round pick, number 147 overall out of Georgia. I do think you're going to have to add a running back this offseason. You got DeAndre Swift, you got Roschon. I think it's a solid one too, but I don't view Travis Homer as someone who will be back. Obviously, Khalil Herbert, Velus Jones are gone. So, taking a guy on day 3 makes some sense. Etienne does a little bit of everything. He can run the ball. He can catch the ball. Spent 2 years at Florida, this year at Georgia. He hasn't been like a bell cow style, but he could play on all 3 downs if you need him to. You know who he reminds me of? And I'm not just saying it because of Georgia. He kind of just reminds me of DeAndre Swift. Like, he's not going to be a top 10 running back in the NFL, but I think in a certain situation in the future, he could start. If not, he could at least be a good change of pace back. He catches the ball well. He runs the ball well. Not a great pass protector, but again, you're on day 3 here, so you're kind of choosing what you got. This is a pretty deep running back class. I think you can find a guy in the 5th, maybe even 6th round that can give you real snaps as a rookie. Couple reminders: the Bears don't currently have a 4th-round pick, and they probably won't, unless they make trades in the offseason, whatever, because They traded theirs away last year to trade back into the draft to get Austin Booker. Also, the Justin Fields pick from Pittsburgh at this point is likely to be a 6th-round pick, unless Russ were to get hurt in the next couple of weeks. He will play more snaps than Fields, which means that'll stay a 6th-round pick, not be a 4th-round pick. Only doing a 5-round mock right now because these simulators don't have deep analysis all the way into the 7th round. So there you have it. Trenches heavy, Will Campbell, Tyler Warren, Jack Sawyer, Tate Ratledge, and then adding a running back there in Trevor Etienne as the Bears look to add some good players this upcoming April. How would you grade Bears Mock Draft 2.0, A, B, C, D, or F? Drop a letter grade for us down in the comment section below. You never know how these are going to fall when you run these simulations, but I think filled some needs there, and we'll see how Ryan Poles attacks this offseason, starting with free agency, obviously. Okay, that's going to do it here on Chicago Bears Now. Again, if you want more draft content, hit that like button. If you want to support the show in another way, hit that subscribe button as well. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you soon. Bear down.